Hey, good day everyone, and welcome to this test drive. And the best part of this test drive is you don't require any driving license. You come to our webpage satoricyber.com free trial and click on this test drive Satori. Once you click on it, it will open up this page. Provide your business email, not your private, and hit start my free trial. Check your mailbox for the activation link, and you will get a link like this. Click on activate Satori account and it will open up this page like this. Provide your information, your first name, last name, company, select a decent password and click on activate. That's it. You've been directed, and then what happened is you've been directed over here to the login page. Then you put your business email which you have used for registering, put your password and click continue. It will ask you for two-factor authentication. If you have authenticated app on mobile, you can use Google Authenticator, or if you are using a Chrome browser, you can log into Chrome Web Store, chrome.google.com, check authenticator. You can click on authenticator over here, add to the Chrome, add as extension, and that's pretty much it. You check over here and pin it up, and this starts showing up here. Authenticator, no accounts to display, add your first account now. You click over here, it will ask you to quickly select like this, and has been added. Okay, and as you can see, it's been started adding, and you can allow to permissions, allow, and now you can copy this data, enter it over here and continue. Save this code, copy this recovery in somewhere to save, so copy this code and continue. You've been greeted with this welcome Satori sandbox test drive. What you get is some queries to test with, and you also get predefined sample data set. You also get some queries to play with, and you can see how we can take actions on Satori. You click on the next. You will get two predefined configure database, Redshift and Snowflake. You get these sample queries and credentials. Make sure you store this information somewhere in your notepad, because you need these credentials to log into your database. So make sure you have this stored somewhere, and that's pretty much it. And you can query the queries if you really want to. Then you click on next and see the sample data. Okay, right now no users. Come to the data stores, and that's pretty much it. If you don't have any databases, access to any databases, don't worry about it. Satori test drive comes pre-configured with Redshift and Snowflake databases that you can begin with. You can alternatively add your own database to play with, and you can simply click on add button over here. Simply say test db and your Snowflake account URL. Select the region and select the closest region and click on create, and that's pretty much it. You can create your own databases if you really want to play, but for this test drive you have these databases you can play with, and you can access these databases using these proxy URLs. So example, we'll click over here and it will ask me the user ID and password, and I have already stored my username over here. It's called Ashish. And I'm gonna pass my credentials that I've stored previously and sign in. And see how easy it is to get into this landing page, and it comes pre-configured with this test drive database. When you explore, you get the schema health and you get patient and results data sets. Let's see what it contains. Wow, great. Now we have access to this data set. Congratulations. And as you can see, there's a lot of personal information and personal health information of being patients right now exposed in this data set, which has access to pretty much everyone. Let's see how we will protect this information in Satori from unauthorized users in few minutes without writing a single line of code. So you can see this sample data set, and you will see we will take some actions in Satori to make sure this data set is not available to the peoples who are not authorized to. So let's take a first action item. Step one is basically you create a masking profile. Masking profile is something that will mask the response to the users and avoid exposing a sensitive information. You can create masking profile using these simple sample templates, or you can create using this your own new template by adding a new template. And you can also explore, let's explore what this sample masking profile contains. You click over here, edit, and you see this masking profile is basically contains the data tags and what actions you want Satori to perform when detecting this data set in the user's result set. And you can take whatever the actions you want from this drop down menu. You can hash, you can redact, or you can choose do nothing. Choice is yours. So based on these data tags, you can define what actions you really want Satori to perform on behalf on you. Once you define your masking profile, the step 2 is creating a security policy. Security policy is basically contains 2 tabs. You can create your new security policy from here, and you can explore this sample data set, sample security policy. In this sample security policy, it contains 2 tabs called dynamic masking and data filtering. Dynamic masking is basically applying those masking profile that we have created in step 1 to the group of users who are not a member of authorized PI and PHI group, and we will see who are the ones who are actually authorized to, and that's how it is simple to create a masking profile. Data filtering is you can create your own filters and choose what users can return the queries based on the authorization contains, so it can provide further filtration on the number of records on top of the dynamic masking. So right now it's not active. Let's activate this policy and make sure this masking profile is active and save it. You can come here in the user directory and see who are the users belongs to PI and PHI data. Right now nobody is part of this group, so technically nobody can access a sensitive information except this sample user that we have created called John Smith. Once you have defined your security policy, the step 3 in the action is basically defining your data set. A data set in a very simple language is the data asset that you want to protect. Your data set can be a simple database, can be a whole account, can be multiple accounts, or can be as simple as a single table. You can add databases or data locations using add button. Select the data store that you want, and then select what location that you want to be a part of your data set. So example, you can choose here any databases, locations, uh, like table, schema, or a database account. So choice is yours. You can always choose this. All right, you can also define your data stewards over here. Data stewards are the one who's going to authorize access to these data sets. So if somebody doesn't have access to these data sets, data stewards will grant access to it. Click on the next tab, user access rules. Access to this dataset is being controlled by Satori. Make sure this checkbox is enabled. And by default, everyone has access to this data, which is great. And that's why we were able to access this data earlier. So now we have activated the policy behind the scene. And as you can see, the user is able to access the sensitive information. Now we have default security policies assigned to everyone. And what is this default security policy? Is the policy that we have created in step 2, which is the patient data. And this policy is right now active. We have activated this policy over here. So right now, anybody who's not a member of PI/PHI authorized group cannot see this data. So let's save this. It's active. And now when we execute the query right here, what happens behind the scene is Satori will redact that information from the users. And you see how easy it is to protect this information from a user using Satori without writing a single line of code. In just few minutes, I was able to configure and protect my entire database accounts from unauthorized access users. Using Satori, you can also do row level filtration. As you can see right now, user has access to the data from other countries like US and Great Britain. And if you like to restrict a user to access data only for US, you can do using Satori as well. In order to create filter, you can go back to the security policy that we have created in earlier steps and go to the data filtration tab. You open the data filtration tab and then you click on start. Choose the data store that you like. Choose the field location. I'm using over here a country code. So I need to select the field called test drive patients using the filter 1. I'm using that value. If user is not a member of PI and PHI group, only able to see values not other than US. Activate this policy, come back, activate over here, and then save it. And now if I execute this query after activating my role, my dynamic masking filtration, as you can see, Satori does the magic behind the scene, and all the Great Britain rows now disappeared from the result set. In minutes, we were able to secure sensitive information in our data platform from unauthorized users without writing a single line of code. I hope you enjoy this test drive because I always do. Thank you.